Hi! Within this lecture, we're going to see how we can make the target download the backdoor and start it using Beef and some other social engineering tools in order to gain full access of the target computer. Because with Beef, we can actually run some JavaScript codes on the browser, on the target browser, but it has some limits. We cannot get full access to the user computer, to the target computer using JavaScript codes, running JavaScript codes on some browser. And if we do that, if we actually send a backdoor to the target and make them run, we can actually get full control, full access to the target computer. So that's what we're going to learn within this lecture. And in order to do that, we have a fantastic tool under social engineering. So we have this fake notification bar for various browsers like Chrome, Firefox, Internet Explorer. Now over here, as you can see, it displays a fake notification bar in the browser saying that you have to install an additional plugin to make your experience better, or you can just say something like you have to install this update in order to wander around the internet, in order to make your computer more secure. There is a new update, you have to install this if you want to continue using your laptop, if you want to continue using your Chrome, whatever you want. Okay, and you provide the URL to be downloaded on the target computer. So this is cool, right? So we get to provide the exe file that user will download from that fake notification bar. So the better cap is still running and we want it to be so. So I'm not going to close this down, but minimize this. And I'm going to come over here and say zoom in so that we can see it better. So we're going to create a new backdoor for ourselves. And you can actually use the same backdoor that we have previously created in the previous sections. But I'm going to create it from scratch. So I'm going to use wheel and I'm going to do this very quick since now you know how to do that, right? I'm going to use the 14th one more time since it should be running. It worked in the previous sections, right? I'm going to say L host is 10.028, and for L port I'm not going to go for 8080 this time, rather I'm going to go something like 5050 or 4040 because the 8080 might be actually in use for B framework. So in order not to take any risk, I'm going to go for 4040. And I'm going to set the processors and sleep in order to avoid at least the antivirus solutions a little bit, okay? And I will generate this payload, and you can name this something like install plugin so that it would be much more convincing for the target. And as I said before, I did this very fast. I assume you know how to run backdoors, how to generate backdoors with wheel. If you have skipped the previous sections for social engineering, I suggest you go back and watch it. Okay? And you can actually use the same backdoor that we have done in the previous sections as well, but I wanted to create it from scratch so that I have some backdoor with a different port at least, so we can try with this with a different port. So I'm going to exit out of this one and I'm going to run my Apache server. Okay, say service Apache to start, and let me come over here and find the output of that wheel and move that exe file to my web server. So I'm going to go over to computer and var. I believe it's located under lib. Yep, and let's find wheel. Here you go, wheel, and the output and the compiled. So here you go, we have this installed plugin exe. Let's move to var w html, and we can actually go for backdoors as well. Let's do that, and let's be structural and organized. I'm going to put this under backdoors. So let me close this down, and in fact, now I'm ready. I believe I can just run MSF console here because I need a listener, right? So I need to listen for incoming connections before I send that exe file to the target. So this will pop open the Metasploit framework for me, and I'm going to use the multi-handler that we have used before. So let me come over here, and I'm going to delete this URL over here, right? So I'm just going to provide what I have done previously. So I'm going to say 10.02.8 because that's my IP address, right? And I'm going to do a / and I'm going to write backdoors because that's where I put my install plugin exe, and I'm going to say install and plugin.exe. Don't forget the underscore. And here you go. So the once I execute this, the target will download from the notification bar, and when they run it, we would get the full access for their computer. So let me execute this. And here you go. This is our fake notification bar. As you can see, this looks legit. So anyone can fall for that. You can just they can just click over here to install missing plugins, and it will download that exe file for us. And they're wandering around the internet. They're using Chrome, and yeah, I should have listened that connection before I run it. So let me come over here and just write use exploit multi-handler. Remember, we use this multi-handler in order to listen for that kind of payload incoming connections. Okay, so I'm going to set the payload to Windows meter-peer reverse HTTP. And remember, our backdoor was reverse HTTP, so if you have used something like reverse TCP or reverse HTTPS, you should write so over here, right? But in my case, it's reverse HTTP. I'm gonna see the options. Yep, we're gonna change the L host to 10.02.8, which is my Kali Linux IP, and I'm going to set the L port to 4040, and I'm going to listen. Yep, I'm going to say exploit. So this will start listening for the incoming connections, and if you didn't understand what I'm doing over here, and again, I really suggest you go back and watch the social engineering and backdoor sections. So I'm going to run this right now, and once I do that, user will think they're actually installing a plugin, but when they run that, so this says that Windows protected your PC, but it says for any exe file, okay? So if users say yes, it will just start running, right? Like this. And once we see this, we can go back, and here you go, we have the connection. Now we hacked in to the target computer. I'm not gonna go over how to use meter-peer over here because that's another section for us. And you have seen the fake notification bar and other methods and other commands that you can use with this beef. As you can see, this beef can get very dangerous, and I really suggest you come over here and try these other commands on your spare time in order to learn and comprehend beef in a much better way. But that's it for right now. We're going to see how to run beef on an outside network after a couple of sections with a fake game website. So that's going to be interesting as well. So let's stop here and meet in the next section.